Hi,
Hi.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Teresa.
Teresa, nice to meet you. Now, is that the name you prefer to go by?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, welcome, Teresa. Just to let you know right at the outset that my first session is a little bit longer because I like to do what I call like kind of a housekeeping list. What's most important to me with all of my clients is that you are fully informed about the process of therapy and what it entails. Have you ever been to therapy before?
I have. It's been a
Okay.
while, but
Okay, so this might be repetitive, and if
Okay.
it is, I apologize, but I would rather err on the side of you having more than enough information. And if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask. So I am a marriage and family therapist trainee. I work under the license of Alexandra Lopez, who's a licensed marriage and family therapist. So she supervises me. So kind of a way I like to conceptualize this with clients is to think of like a medical student in their residency program. They're working under the license of a doctor, but they see their own patient sort of thing. It's kind of like you're getting two therapists as one.
Okay.
So she's just there to make sure that I'm giving you the best care and treatment possible. Did you get a chance to review the fee sheet and look over everything? Okay, great. So to reiterate that, it's $150 per hour. We have a cancellation policy that is 24 hours. We request that you, if you're gonna miss an appointment, just give us a call, leave a message. I totally know that life happens, so don't stress about it. If you can't even make the 24-hour window, just as long as you're in communication with me, we should be able to work things out. Any questions about that stuff?
No.
Okay, great. So I wanted to get in a little bit into my role as a marriage and family therapist with you. To start off, I am very collaborative. I believe that you are the expert first and foremost in this room. So I just view it as my honor and my privilege to come alongside you to work towards or whatever it is that you bring in to work on. I work with individuals and couples and families to diagnose and treat challenges and to build healthier relationships with each other.
Okay.
So again, I don't view myself as the guru or the expert or the person that you're coming to for all the wisdom. You are the one with the wisdom and you know more, and I'm just very honored that I get to be a part of this with you. A word about confidentiality is that everything that you say in this room will stay in this room. The exception to that is that my supervisor will also be able to access your file. We might discuss things that we talk about in here, but she will also honor that confidentiality. It will never go beyond that. There are a few exceptions to this, and that has to do with mandated reporting. I don't know if you've heard about that before in previous therapy sessions, but if I suspect that if anything you disclose to me leads me to suspect that there might be an abuse of a child, an elderly adult, a dependent adult, or if I was worried and suspicious that you might be close to self-harm or harming another person, I am required by law to report that to the proper authorities. You will always, also as far as your files are concerned, you'll see me jotting notes. I usually do that just to like refresh my memory on things, so if you don't mind, I do that. You have full access to your file and to my notes at any point, so you just let me know. And in some cases, if there's a court proceeding or something, the other breach to confidentiality would be if I am subpoenaed and they request certain documents from me. If that happens though, I will give you advance notice. We'll be able to go over things and follow the proper procedures from there. Okay? And lastly, because your confidentiality is very important to me, social media, this very connected world we live in nowadays, you will notice that I will not accept friend requests or try to friend you on your social media. If even out in the real world, if we are at the marketplace together or at a dinner party or something and we happen to bump into each other, I won't acknowledge you because I don't want to breach that you are my client, but however, you can approach me at any time. And if that is the case and we don't encounter and I don't approach you, we'll definitely talk about it in our next session and go over that. So is there any questions that you have about any of this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, you're already a pro at this. So what brings you here today?
I feel like I'm having some issues with, I wouldn't say confidence, but knowing like my self-worth or believing in myself and trusting myself and trusting others been, I feel like it's come to a head as of recently. I'm approaching 39 and I just don't feel like I should be having these sorts of issues. I feel like I should know like what I've accomplished, what I'm good at, where my strengths lie, like what, and I do in certain areas, but then there are like these areas in my life that have huge deficits and they lack any sort of like acknowledge of strengths or confidence or worth, and I don't know how to build there. Some of it has leaked in, you know, I have like a new job. Sometimes I feel like a little bit of that has leaked into my new job, but the majority of my these issues lie in the area of relationships. And so I am just kind of at a place in my life where I don't want to move on. Like I want to fix this in my 39th year, and I don't want to go into my 40s like having these issues. I want to know in relationships, like I want to be able to trust myself. I want to be able to open myself up and really honestly trust others even when they get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to like open back up, and I want to be able to move forward because I trust myself first and foremost, and have the confidence and know what I'm worth, and know like where I've come from and what, you know, like those sorts of things. And it's like I can make the checklist in certain areas of my life and stand confident, and then when I like look at the area of relationships, I don't
Feel that same confidence.
know.
Okay. Do you feel like it's just been in this last year, you're saying that, or
Yeah, I
would you
feel
say
like
that
I'm
this sense
becoming
of
aware
this-
of it.
Okay.
Like I'm like, this is a problem.
And do you feel like it's something that you've carried with you for a long time, this lack of confidence in yourself in these areas, particularly in relationships?
Like the majority of my life.
All right.
So I'm like that feels daunting.
Mm-hmm.
Like that feels daunting in comparison to like how I want to move forward. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to like heal like 32 years
Mm-hmm.
of thinking the same way, or sort of the same way? I'm sure it's evolved.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's needed to, I'm sure it's like in good ways and bad ways.
Yeah. I wonder, you seem so very self-aware, and the way that you're taking an inventory of yourself in your life here at this point up to 39. I wonder along the way why in your relationships you're feeling like you can't trust yourself. What's happened are there any relationships that might have led you to believe this thing about yourself, that you're not to be trusted?
I think, oh good.
No, I'm sorry, I was gonna continue on just a little bit, and to also say, you mentioned feeling worthy, that you don't necessarily feel worthy. So I'm curious if you have ever considered relationally, were there points along the way where you feel like you lost that ability to trust and feel your worth, or was that never there?
I think when I was young, it started as a way of protecting myself, like self-preservation. One specific example was, and I remember it vividly, is when I was not freshman, I was in 7th grade, and all my, like, out of my friends, this one girl, she was always like, I don't know, trying to be the ringleader or something, but she had convinced all my friends that I wasn't worth being friends with. And so, like, they just literally one day, like, I came to school and literally were like, we're not your friends anymore. And I could not, like, actually, like, compute it. And so I just, like, during break time and, like, lunch, I literally just followed them around like she had never said it. And, like, wore them down to the point where, of course, they're gonna bring me back because I'm a nice person. I'm sweet, like, I'm nice, like, because it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, I haven't done anything, like, so there was that. But that was out of, like, self-preservation, like, I needed to do it. I think the one that broke me was my divorce, which was, like, 10 years ago, and because it came out of the blue, you know, I can look back and, like, hindsight's 20/20, I can pick apart, like, where my faults lie and what the real root of the situation was, and take responsibility for those things. But, like, then past that, like, I've only dated, I was single and celibate for about 6 or 7 years. Mm-hmm. And then I had a boyfriend for like 4 to 5 months. Then another year I had a boyfriend for 5 months. And then I don't know, they just always decide to leave. And it's like these group of girls who just like up and decide to leave. My ex decided to leave, like, I don't know, there's like this thing in my mind that's like, why am I not worth like sticking through the shit with, because I'm like dealing with a lot of yours and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't seem to happen in my female relationships. Like, I can keep a female friendship really like pretty well. I have noticed areas in those relationships where I tend to bend when I shouldn't, but I'm fixing those. And I have like a couple good friends where I can literally be my worst and they're still sticking around. So that's building my trust there. Mm-hmm. I'm not having to like operate in the same area and tiptoe and make sure like, oh, do they not like me? Okay, I need to move over here. Like, but with guys, like, I can't.
You feel, it sounds like that 7th grade experience with the way you tell it and the divorce were your 2 most formative experiences that sort of solidified maybe that belief, like, I'm expendable.
Yeah. I'm
worth leaving. I wonder, you mentioned with all of your relationships with girls and how you're learning, how you feel like you can connect easily with girlfriends. Have you thought a little bit about the differences in those, and what do you feel is different about those relationships versus that 7th grade experience with girls? What's the difference with Teresa there?
I'm not worried in certain ways about trying to keep them. Mm-hmm. So I make them laugh, like they make me laugh, I can say what I want, I can be myself. But when I like have this like guy who's interested in me, it's like I don't want to ruin it, and I don't want him to see him leave, and then guess what? He leaves. Yeah. Like the worst thing happens. Like my worst fear ends up happening.
So would it be fair to say that in your relationships with your girlfriends, there's not fear there anymore? Like you're
There's
able to be
less.
more yourself?
A lot less.
A lot less?
Yeah.
Okay. And that frees you up to feel and be more yourself, which sounds to me like it's a very likable person, because then your relationships.
They are sticking around and
Yeah.
they think I'm interesting enough.
absolutely.
But sometimes like I just am like, if I was with them, if I was like how I am with them, with the guy would just find me boring and like, there would be no second or third date.
So you think if you were as free with a man in a romantic relationship as you are, uninhibited maybe could be a word, you think he would leave then? Is
Yeah,
that
like
what you
just
feel?
get bored or, I don't know.
Okay. What do you feel particularly about yourself that must be so boring?
I'm quiet a lot, like I can be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I can be loud too and like talkative and stuff, but like I like to listen a lot and sometimes I just don't have things to say.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that who you are on the inside isn't interesting enough?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. And do you feel like that was the message you got back in 7th grade with those girls?
Oh, yeah.
Was that little 7th grade girl not interesting enough?
I mean, I thought she was.
Yeah.
I'm like, she was nice.
Mm-hmm.
She liked to do dance routines.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like,
She's a 7th grade
She
girl.
was like-
Yes. Yeah.
she was your friend and like,
Yeah.
had your back. I don't know what
Absolutely.
more I don't know what else you need in 7th
Yeah.
grade.
Well, 7th grade, I think, is notorious for being one of the worst years of every female's life. Nobody wishes, in all of my years of talking with people, nobody says, I really want to relive 7th grade again. That was really, but it's the pain, though, that can come with those experiences in adolescence as we're growing up. There was nothing wrong with that 7th grade girl. And developmentally, girls and their shifting and everything with all of their friendships, that was almost a part of the process. But it seems you picked up a belief somewhere along the way in that stuck with you, that was, I am not worthy. I am not worthy of going on.
Well, and I think what happened was like, I like stayed, right? Because I was like, no, you're keeping me, you know?
Mhm.
But I can't make a man keep me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that no longer works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sticking around no matter what they do, even when they treat me awful, just because I don't want to see another one leave,
Mm-hmm.
still doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, it sometimes feels I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. You know, if they treat me well and, you know, I really enjoy them and I want to get to know them more, they're going to find me boring and they're going to leave. If they treat me awful and, like, I can put up with what they're doing just because I don't want them to leave, they'll still leave because.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me, first of all. I can definitely see how these relationships and everything have really affected you, and these beliefs that you have about yourself, about not feeling worthy, not feeling like you're sure if you can trust yourself, all of these things. It makes a lot of sense to me why you're feeling this way. I would love to be able to explore this further with you in future sessions. So if it's okay, we'll end here and we'll begin next Monday, and we'll pick up where we left off. Okay? It was really nice to meet you, Teresa. Thank you for coming.